did just say I wanted to go take a shower and get to bed, but a thought popped into my head that's been on my mind, for a while and throughout the course of my life, but again lately. Some people, their natural resting face, there's that term RBF, resting female dog face, and not exclusive to females, but not nice person face, where just their blank staring into space face is like, it either could look sad, mad, irritated, mean, tough, but not like the opposite of friendly, happy, approachable, kind, warm, inviting. And I actually, if I just let my face go the way it is, I actually kind of have had this at times in my life. I remember middle school was when I noticed it, and, it could be, concentrating can do that. Like, I've caught myself driving and I've got my eyebrows furrowed, and I'm not sure why, because it's not stressful traffic, but maybe I'm just thinking and I catch myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh. And I think it was in middle school where people would be like, oh, why don't you smile? Or why do you look so serious? That's, I think, the one I got most often. Now, granted, I probably was serious. I was, I believe highly in education and knowledge, and I was a serious student, if you will, but at the same time, I was never like, couldn't take a joke or wouldn't laugh. But I suppose at the time it was sort of like, well, if there's nothing to laugh at, why not just have a blank face? Like, even if my blank face is not super happy looking, like, am I supposed to, what do I do about that? But I don't know exactly when, but I kind of decided, if my natural face is that way, and I think it's pretty common with Eastern Europeans, like, their natural face looks like people are trying to model, like, serious and, like, intimidating and tough or whatever. It's kind of just comes with the genetic territory. So I think I remembered thinking, that may be the hand I was dealt. I like my genes. I'm glad I'm of Eastern European heritage, and I like, even if that causes a serious look, I still like the look of it. But how can I change that? What can I do? What's in my control to appear more friendly and warm and happy and inviting? And so, learning in laughter yoga how when you smile and laugh, even if you're totally just, faking it, your brain doesn't know the difference. So your brain's like, oh, she's laughing, she's smiling, she must be smiling funny, or, send out the happy chemicals. So in the same way, I think it's valuable to learn to control your face. From theater, I always loved going in the mirror and, like, practicing, like, this eyebrow up, this eyebrow up. They're a little bit different. And, okay, wiggling ears. How's that going to go? If I do this side of my mouth, how's that going to go? If I do this, and this, getting familiar with the faces I can make and the muscles that it takes to utilize them. And also smiling for photos. That's one thing that I think we mostly all would benefit from practicing. If you ever are going to need to take a professional photo, I think it would probably be best to be, like, inviting, warm, happy. There's so many smiles that I don't think people realize how it ends up looking, and inadvertently it can look less professional, or it could look in some other way, like the aforementioned uninviting. Like, I've seen somebody who's actually quite into their looks and looking put together and polished, and yet the business card kind of looks like a dog that you just kind of huddled the teeth, pulled the lips back on, and they look like they're straining and grimacing. And it's surprising because, they spend a lot of time in the mirror, like, trying to look right, I guess. But even if you don't need a professional picture, personally, I'd want to take nice pictures for if I'm in a wedding party, or for family photos, friend photos, photos with celebrities or actors from a Broadway show and whatnot. Oh, my nose is itchy. So I think it is valuable to spend time getting familiar with your facial muscles. And also, if you're someone that has been you know, had people comment on, you know, hey, why don't you smile more or whatever. Not that you're obligated to, but I'm a big proponent of caring about your impact on others. And if you might frequently be getting feedback on, you know, people concerned about you, are you okay? I wouldn't necessarily say, you know, change your face for their benefit, but I want people to feel good around me. I want to bring them, you know, contribute to their happiness, not take it away from them. And I remember there was this episode of some show where the father was like a pastor or something, and his teenage daughter was getting, you know, fresh and mouthy, and like she would make these very dramatic faces, like he'd say something that she didn't like, and she'd be like, and he's like, fix your face! Fix your face! And I remember thinking, you know, that's a reasonable thing to say, I think, because that face says a lot. Even if she's not, you know, giving him an unfriendly gesture or saying rude things, that face says a lot on its own. So I guess what I would maybe say is, what do you want your face to say? Do you care about your impact on others? Do you care about what presence you bring to a room? I've recently been thinking about stage presence and all the applications it may have in our life, and how it's not just being on stage, but how whenever we're around other beings, we're kind of on a stage, and what kind of presence do we want to have? Do we want to sit there and not care if we appear mean and uninviting? Do we want people to think we're, you know, uninviting? I kind of find a lot of people that just have, you know, when they're older and they just have this kind of scowl, I don't think that's just from aging, dropping their skin. I think they kind of, you know, develop that from years of kind of maybe intentionally or, you know, subconsciously making scowls, and then it's kind of cemented into their face. And I find I really don't even feel very good doing this. Like, I just feel, ugh. Whereas if I even just tell myself to smile, I already feel quite a bit better. And I had something, I remember, I think it was Betty White, one of my favorites, said something to the effect of, if you're young and beautiful, that's just, you know, luck of the draw, God's blessings, lucky. But if you're old and beautiful, you've earned it. And I think that too. Like, you know, when you think about people that would be cast or typecast as a witch, not like a nice witch like Glinda, but, you know, like a scary mean witch. Yes, there are prosthetics, but at the same time, a lot of times those faces get that way from a lifetime of, you know, scowling at people. Bleh. Whereas, you know, people that are just wanting to send love and be friendly, they take on, you know, look at Betty White. To me, she's a perfect example. To me, she radiates love, and she's almost always smiling. And I think, and she loves animals. I think that's another big old correlation. But to me, it's not at all a surprise that those go together. And a lot of those people that would be typecast as the witch didn't start out their life with those features that would cause them to be cast that way. So I really think it's what you have in your head and what you produce. And in my opinion, we have a responsibility to have enough self-awareness. Even if, whether we care about our impact on others or not, I think it only makes sense to at least have the self-awareness to know at least what your impact is doing. And be aware of the impact, even if you don't particularly care to make that impact, let's say, positive. But I've always been a big self-awareness proponent and finding ways of being self-aware. And, you know, there's always room to improve. There's always some area that lacks self-awareness, or maybe an area that you might be really good at, but then when something else distracts you, like let's say while you're driving, you're so focused on that, you lose awareness of your face until you see it in the mirror. So what kind of self-awareness do you want to have? And what kind of impact do you want to have in the world? And what do you want your face to say when people see you? Do you want to be warm and inviting? Do you want to smile at them and make their day? At some point, I will definitely talk about the power of smiles and my experiences with, I want to make them smile, I'm going to make them smile. And mirror neurons firing, it's pretty hard for people to not smile back. I'm just going to say part of it now. During the temple open house, I never thought being the door opener could be such a cool job. Like, I was like, seems like, you're not really contributing that much or whatever. But I noticed, oh my gosh, I get to see like all the people going through on the tour. Whereas as a tour guide, which seemed more appealing to me, I'm only taking one tour at a time, like a chunk of people. But as the door holder, I see everybody. And I really found myself like with this enormous smile, like, hello, enjoy your tour. And I decided to make it my mission to see. I was like, I want to get them all to smile. Everybody that goes by me will smile. And some people, like the instant they look at you, and other people, it like delayed reaction. They kind of like, I don't know what's going on, check in with you, or they're not sure. But then they're like, slow smile, smile. But then there's other ones where, it's almost like they're not receiving, they're not connecting. And so I turn it up some notches. I'm like, like not ridiculous, but I just sent extra love, like through the eyes, through the smile and stuff. And eventually, if they looked at me, they would smile. The only people who didn't smile were the ones looking at the floor and who refused to look at me. So basically, everybody who looked at my face smiled because, I don't think it's just mirror neurons, but I think it's like spirit to spirit. When you send out love and smile at people, it's really difficult for them not to smile back. So if you want to test your own happiness, love power, see who you can make smile in your day.